This is your dose of daily market wisdom with master trader Nick Santiago. Starting from humble beginnings, Nick has been beating the markets for over 2 decades. He shares with you his take on the profitable trades that will have you moving towards financial freedom in no time at all. To see an in-depth review of his track record and much more, go to inthemoneystocks.com. Welcome. This is your daily dose of daily market wisdom with master trader Nick Santiago. I'm Kerry Lutz. Today is 11/29/21, show number 344. Nick, we had a real Black Friday on Friday, didn't we? The markets just hammered.
Yeah, their markets were absolutely pounded on Black Friday, and it was a real Black Friday this time around. I have to say, there was some serious damage done on the charts, and that's why you're going to have to really be a chartist going forward. I mean, that was an ugly, ugly sell-off. Today, you're getting a little bit of a rebound, but I mean, it's nothing to the magnitude of what we lost on Friday, and that was a little bit of a surprise because it was a holiday shortened session. Normally, historically speaking, you know, everybody's going out shopping. Nobody's really even paying attention to the market. The market's usually buoyant if they have a little bit of upside to them. That's great. Everybody's happy. But this was a real pounding of a sell-off on major volume.
And what's fascinating is, you know, that the A team, all of the A-list traders were off for the day. So this is strictly like algorithms feeding off of each other, right?
That's right. And you had the JV squad holding the trading desk down if there was anybody there at all. And, you know, just big time selling. The funny thing was the night before on Thanksgiving, the futures were up. And then the futures turned down. We hear this, the new variant. I guess that's the name of it, too. Now they're calling it Omicron or something like that, where they come up with these names, these ridiculous names. I have no idea. But we've seen that news come out, and that just amplified everything. I mean, that was the catalyst of the day for the decline. And then over the weekend, damage control comes in. Oh, the variant may not be that big a deal. It's not, doesn't really get you very sick, but it's contagious, the normal spin. And, markets are rebounding today. I'd love to see a rebound, into the end of the week. I'm not sure we'll get that.
So a rebound where it recaptures most or all of its losses on Friday and then sucks people in, and then it begins a major decline?
I think that's a fair possibility. I think, I'm going to be watching the pattern. Obviously, today is just the first day where we're getting a pretty good uptick. But, as I was tracking the news over the weekend, I said, they're setting this thing up for a bounce because we already hit a pretty good oversold condition, hit some support levels. A lot of different industry groups were hit pretty hard as well. So I said, we'll probably see a bounce, and we're getting that now. I told all of my Bullseye members, I said, hey, get ready. Nothing goes down in a straight line. There'll be bounces. But, we're going to read those charts now, and you got to be a chart reader going forward.
And, Nick, you thought this was going to happen earlier in the year, but you were off by about 6 months.
Well, the first quarter of the year, I kind of nailed a date in January, and I said it will bounce again, and then we'll get another hit on around mid-February. That worked out perfectly. We got another pretty good fall. Then I said we'll get another bounce, and March will be the fall. In March, it started to tumble right on schedule. Train was pulling into the station. And ironically enough, the markets fell. And then over the weekend, we heard news of a hedge fund blow up. And the hedge fund was a pretty levered hedge fund. And, if there's one cockroach out there, my theory is there's a million. And I said, wow, this could be the start of something. But that day where that news broke, when the market reopened on that Monday, news came over the weekend, it was in the end of March, the markets rallied up. And I said, well, you can't fight the trend. And that's, why you have to be a chartist first. And you can have all the cycle work. You can do all the stuff that I do, looking at Astro and everything else. But when the charts tell you otherwise, you got to go with the chart. So, saving grace was I'm a chartist. And, you say, all right, it's not happening. We got to go with it. And it was what we call an inversion type year. Very, very strange to see it. I haven't really had many inversion type cycles, but this was definitely one. And, now we're seeing, real big distribution coming in, and it's late in the year where we're supposed to have, positive seasonality trends. So this is definitely an upside down world and an upside down market.
A wise man once told me the trend is your friend, except at the end.
That's very, very true. Smart guy.
So Mary writes us and says the ratio of insider buying to selling has been so lopsided recently. Was that the final nail in the coffin?
That was one of them. I think that's one of them. And that has been the case, really, I'm going to say probably since May or June. I've watched insider buying and selling every day, and the amount of buyers are just minimal. You see these CEOs or these insiders buying $200,000 worth of stock. I mean, that's just a feeble day trade. But for the most part, you see the sellers come in the billions, and I mean, every day. So you just see a guy selling $39 million worth of stock, $25 million worth, and the list is long. So, we get to see this. I see this stuff every single day. And, she's absolutely right. We see a lot of insider selling, but it's been going on for a while.
Hey, and the insider selling frenzy probably was capped off by Elon Musk.
Well, that really kind of was the nail in the coffin as far as I'm concerned, because, he even tweeted about it if he should do it or not, which makes it even more hysterical. But yeah, he sold quite a bit of stock up there, took it, and rightfully so. I mean, the thing's at an all-time high. The guy sold a lot of cars. He's getting his reward there. And, who would think that the guy would tweet it out first before he does it? So you have to give him a little credit for that. But yeah, topped it off.
Yeah, it just, it never ceases to amaze. And yeah, he was the mother of all insider sellers, right?
It really, I mean, you couldn't plan it any better than that. I mean, it was just like almost poetic how it happened. But, it really just it just comes down to that. You're seeing a lot of CEOs bail, and I'm talking big Fortune 500 companies. They are bailing in a big way, selling tons and tons of stock.
So the money is distribution, liquidations taking place, people panicking, pulling money out of the market. Where's it going? Because it certainly didn't go into Bitcoin and it didn't go into gold.
Yeah, that's the big question. Where is it going? So is it going just into a bank account and it's just sitting there? I really don't know the answer to that question, but we're seeing the insider selling. So, a lot of times these guys will just take that money and they'll just sit on the sidelines and maybe wait for an opportunity down the road.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. So that's they're just putting it into T-bills then. So what happened to rates? Did they come down?
So rates have been interesting. On Friday, rates really came down a ton. I mean, they were hammered. I believe the 10-year was down about almost 14 basis points. Today, we're seeing yields rebound up a little bit. They're up 4.5 basis points. So yields have been all over the map. And now everybody is a little bit on guard. I happen to think that rates are going to go higher. So watch for the pattern there as well. But, rates have been almost like an EKG since September, right? They've been as low as 125 on the 10-year, went up to 170 recently, or close to 170. Now, they're sitting at around 152, 153. We'll see how this plays out. But rates are an EKG on the chart right now. So we'll be watching the patterns there, and we'll see how they play out. But they had a big drop on Friday as money did go into bonds again.
So that's where the money fled to, not to cryptos, which is kind of surprising, isn't it?
Yeah, it is kind of surprising. But, when you look at the crypto market, you have to just look at that market and say, who are the holders there? You hear about all of these guys touting it all the time, but are the crypto holders real strong hands, or are they somewhat of a weaker group, or are they just in it for the long time? So you got a very, very diverse group of people that are in the cryptos. But in all fairness, today cryptos are up about 4% and trading at around 57,000. But if you remember, Kerry, I've been saying here at least the last few weeks, as long as cryptos stay above 52,000, that's the magic number in my book. It's just a pullback and nothing more.
All right. So we're going to see this 52,000 though tested, because we know how Bitcoin goes. It will dive beneath it a number of times and then come back and go above. And it makes it very hard to decipher a trend, doesn't it?
Yeah, but it's a very good trading chart. So when I've been tracking Bitcoin now for a long, long time, and it respects the technicals very, very well. That's how I come up with these numbers. But when you look at it on Friday, we got down to 53,600. I was getting flooded with emails saying, "Hey, is Bitcoin going to break?" I told you guys the magic number is 52,000. So that wasn't even tested yet. But I do think it will get tested probably pretty shortly.
Very interesting. All right. Well, that is it for today. You want to see how Nick's been doing it, beating the market, beating the averages for years, calling declines, calling rapid increases. Go over to inthemoneystocks.com. The Twitter feeds at ITMS, at Nick Santiago01, at Kerry Lutz. Your emails are always welcome at kl@kerrylutz.com. Nick, we'll talk to you on Wednesday and see what happens next.
Sounds good, Kerry.